First contact and cultural clash. The massive interstellar transport ship Celestial Voyager emerged from hyperspace on the outskirts of the Sol system, its iridescent hull gleaming in the light of Earth's distant sun. On the bridge, Ambassador Zara of the Lyrican Confederation stood motionless, her forearms folded across her chest as she gazed at the blue-green marble of humanity's homeworld. "Fascinating," she murmured, her violet eyes widening slightly. "To think that such a primitive species has already achieved spaceflight and colonized their neighboring planets." Captain Jarvik, the gruff human officer assigned as her liaison, grunted noncommittally. "We may not have your fancy faster-than-light drives or energy shields, Ambassador, but humans are nothing if not resourceful." Zara's antennae twitched in what Jarvik had come to recognize as amusement. "Indeed, that is precisely why my people are so eager to establish formal relations with Earth. Your unpredictability intrigues us." As the Celestial Voyager began its approach to Earth, Zara felt a flutter of nervous anticipation in her secondary hearts. She had spent years studying human culture and biology in preparation for this mission, but no amount of research could fully prepare her for direct contact with such an alien species. The ship docked smoothly at the newly constructed Orbital Diplomatic Center. Zara took a deep breath, composing herself before following Captain Jarvik through the airlock. A small delegation of human officials waited to greet them, their eyes wide with barely concealed wonder at her alien appearance. Ambassador Zara, a silver-haired woman, stepped forward, extending her hand. "I'm Secretary General Chen. On behalf of the United Earth Government, welcome to our world." Zara inclined her head respectfully, carefully grasping the human's hand in the way she had practiced. "Thank you, Secretary General. I bring greetings and hopes for peaceful cooperation from the Lyrican people." As they made their way to the conference room, Zara marveled at the diversity of human phenotypes on display. Such variety within a single species was unheard of among the genetically homogeneous Lyricans. The negotiations that followed were grueling, stretching on for days as the two sides hammered out the details of a preliminary trade agreement and cultural exchange program. Zara found herself both frustrated and oddly charmed by the human's contradictory nature, at times maddeningly stubborn, at others surprisingly flexible. During a break in the talks, Zara wandered the station's observation deck, gazing down at the swirling clouds and glittering city lights of the planet below. She was so lost in thought that she almost collided with a young human male who rounded the corner. "Oh, excuse me, Ambassador," he said, stepping back quickly. "I didn't see you there." Zara's antennae perked up with interest as she regarded him. He appeared to be in his late 20s by human standards, with tousled dark hair and warm brown eyes that crinkled at the corners when he smiled. "No apology necessary," she replied. "I was distracted by the view. Your world is quite beautiful from up here." "I'm David Chen," he introduced himself. "I work in xenobiology. I've been studying Lyrican physiology, actually. It's fascinating stuff." "Oh," Zara said, her curiosity piqued. "Perhaps you could tell me more about your research over a meal? I confess I'm still adjusting to human cuisine." David's face lit up. "I'd be honored, Ambassador. There's a great little fusion restaurant on level 3 that does both Earth and alien dishes. Shall we say 1900 hours? Zara agreed, surprised to find herself looking forward to the informal interaction. That evening, as they shared a meal of synthesized Lyrican delicacies and Earth sushi, she found David to be refreshingly direct compared to the politicians she'd been dealing with. "So tell me, Ambassador," he said between bites of California roll, "what do you really think of us humans so far?" Zara considered for a moment. "You are perplexing," she admitted. "Your species seems driven by conflicting impulses, greed and altruism, violence and compassion. And yet somehow you've managed to build a thriving civilization. It's quite remarkable." David laughed. "Yeah, we're a mess all right, but we muddle through somehow." His expression grew more serious. "What about reproduction? I hope you don't mind me asking, but the process is so different for Lyricans. Do you ever feel like you're missing out on pair bonding, family units, that sort of thing? Zora's antennae twitched in surprise at the personal nature of the question. I'm not sure, she said slowly. Our method of asexual division is efficient, but I suppose it lacks the emotional component that seems so central to human partnerships. She tilted her head, regarding David curiously. Is that truly so important to your species? David's cheeks flushed slightly. For most of us, yeah. Finding a lifelong mate, raising children together, it's a huge part of the human experience. He shrugged, looking a bit embarrassed. Sorry, I didn't mean to get so personal. Professional curiosity, I guess. No need to apologize, Zara assured him. I find your perspective intriguing. Perhaps we could continue this discussion another time. I'd like to learn more. As they parted ways that evening, Zara found herself mulling over their conversation. The concept of romantic love was alien to her people, yet she couldn't deny a certain fascination with the idea. She pushed the thoughts aside, reminding herself to focus on her diplomatic mission. And yet, as the days passed, she found her mind continually drifting back to her encounter with the earnest young xenobiologist. The cultural exchange program got underway, with small groups of humans and Lyricans visiting each other's worlds. Zara threw herself into her role as ambassador, working tirelessly to smooth over the inevitable misunderstandings and culture clashes. One afternoon, she received an urgent message from the Lyrican High Council. A virulent new plague had broken out on one of their colony worlds, overwhelming their medical facilities. They were formally requesting Earth's assistance, hoping that humanity's expertise in combating disease might provide insights their own scientists had missed. Zara immediately brought the request to Secretary General Chen, who promised to assemble a team of Earth's top epidemiologists and virologists. As preparations got underway, Zara was surprised to see a familiar face among the human scientists, David Chen. I didn't realize your expertise extended to infectious diseases, she remarked when they had a moment alone. David grinned sheepishly. It doesn't really. But I convinced them they needed a xenobiologist along to help understand how the pathogen interacts with Lyrican physiology. Zara's antennae twitched in amusement. I see. And your motives for volunteering were purely scientific, I'm sure. Of course, David replied with exaggerated innocence. Then his expression sobered. Seriously though, I want to help if I can. And, well, I enjoyed our talks. I thought maybe we could continue them on the journey. Zara felt an unexpected warmth in her chest at his words. I would like that, she said softly. As the human medical team made final preparations for departure, Zara found herself filled with a mix of hope and trepidation. This crisis could either strengthen the fledgling alliance between their species or strain it to the breaking point. And on a more personal level, she sensed that her relationship with David was on the verge of evolving into something she didn't quite understand, but found herself longing to explore. With a final glance at the gleaming blue orb of Earth, Zara boarded the ship that would carry them across the stars to her people's beleaguered colony. Whatever challenges lay ahead, she was determined to face them head-on, forging new connections between their worlds, and perhaps between two hearts separated by the vast gulf of evolution. Unexpected romance blossoms. The interstellar journey to the Lyrican colony world Novus Prime stretched over several weeks, giving Zara and David ample time to deepen their connection. As the sleek Earth vessel Horizon cut through the star-studded void, the unlikely pair found themselves drawn together by shared intellectual curiosity and a growing attraction neither fully understood. One evening, they sat in the ship's observation lounge, surrounded by the ethereal glow of a nearby nebula. David's eyes sparkled with excitement as he regaled Zara with tales of Earth's scientific achievements. You should have seen the faces of the old god when we cracked quantum entanglement communication, he chuckled. They said it was impossible, that the laws of physics wouldn't allow it, but we did it anyway. Zara's antennae quivered with amusement. That seems to be a recurring theme with your species. You have a remarkable ability to achieve the seemingly impossible through sheer determination. David grinned. What can I say? We humans are too stubborn to know when to quit. His expression softened as he gazed at her. What about you, Zara? What drives you? She considered the question carefully. A desire for knowledge, I suppose, to understand the universe and our place in it. But lately, she trailed off, her violet eyes meeting his. Lately, I find myself driven by something else, something I can't quite define. David's breath caught in his throat. Slowly, hesitantly, he reached out and took one of her hands in his. Zara marveled at the warmth of his touch, so different from the cool efficiency of Lyrican interactions. Maybe, David said softly, we can figure it out together. As the horizon approached Novus Prime, the growing connection between the human scientist and the Lyrican ambassador did not go unnoticed. Captain Elena Rodriguez, the no-nonsense leader of the Earth expedition, pulled David aside for a frank discussion. Look, Chen, she said, her dark eyes serious. I get it. Alien babes, forbidden romance, all that jazz. But we're here on a critical mission. I need your head in the game, understood? David bristled. It's not like that, Captain. Zara and I, we're just friends. Colleagues. Rodriguez raised an eyebrow. Aha, and I'm the Queen of Mars. Just keep it professional, all right? We can't afford any interspecies incidents. As they entered orbit around Novus Prime, the gravity of the situation became apparent. The once thriving colony was in chaos, its cities locked down as the mysterious plague ravaged the population. The Earth team, clad in advanced biohazard suits, descended to the surface to coordinate with local authorities. Zara felt a wave of distress wash over her as she saw the suffering of her people. The normally vibrant Lyricans were pale and listless, their bodies racked by a disease that defied their advanced medical technology. It's like nothing we've ever seen, Dr. Kira Van, the colony's chief medical officer, explained. The virus seems to target our unique biology, specifically our ability to reproduce through cellular division. If we can't find a cure soon, our entire species could be at risk. David's scientific mind kicked into high gear as he pored over the Lyrican medical data. The virus is incredibly sophisticated, he mused, almost as if it was engineered specifically to target your reproductive process. Zara's antennae drooped with worry. But who would do such a thing, and why? As the Earth team worked tirelessly to unravel the mystery of the plague, Zara found herself torn between her duties as an ambassador and her growing feelings for David. Late one night, as they took a brief rest from their labors, she confided her fears to him. I feel as though I'm betraying my people, she whispered. Here they are, suffering and dying, and all I can think about is... David took her hands in his touch sending a shiver through her alien form. You're not betraying anyone, Zara. What we feel, it's natural. Beautiful, even. But how can it be? Zara's voice trembled. We're from different worlds, different species. It doesn't make sense. David smiled softly. Love rarely does. The word hung in the air between them, fraught with meaning. Slowly, hesitantly, David leaned in. Zara's hearts raced as she met him halfway, their lips joining in a kiss that bridged the vast gulf between their species. As they parted, both breathless and wide-eyed, alarms began blaring throughout the medical complex. Captain Rodriguez's voice crackled over the intercom. Chen, Ambassador, get to the lab now. We've got a breakthrough. They rushed to the main laboratory, where Dr. Van was practically bouncing with excitement. We've isolated the virus's mechanism of action, she explained rapidly. It's targeting a specific protein sequence involved in Lyrican cellular division. If we can develop a way to protect that sequence, we might be able to create a vaccine, David finished, his mind racing. But we'd need a way to introduce the protective agent into every cell in a Lyrican's body. Zara's antennae perked up. What about using modified nanobots? Our technology is capable of programming them to target specific cellular structures. David's eyes lit up. That's brilliant. We could use Earth's expertise in virus-fighting techniques and combine it with Lyrican nanotech. It just might work. As the team threw themselves into developing the experimental treatment, Zara and David found themselves working in perfect sync. Their complementary knowledge and growing intimacy created a synergy that amazed their colleagues. Days blurred into weeks as they raced against time to save the Lyrican people. Finally, after countless setbacks and sleepless nights, they were ready to test the nanobot vaccine on volunteers. Zara stepped forward. "I'll be the first," she declared. David's face paled. "Zara, no, it's too risky. We don't know if." She silenced him with a gentle touch. "My people are dying, David. I have to do this." As the nanobots were injected into her system, Zara felt a strange tingling sensation spread throughout her body. For several tense hours, the medical team monitored her closely for any adverse reactions. Suddenly, Zara gasped, her body convulsing. David rushed to her side, his heart pounding with fear. "Zara, what's wrong?" Her violet eyes flew open, filled with wonder. I can feel it," she whispered. "The virus. It's dying." A cheer went up from the assembled scientists as the monitors confirmed Zara's words. The vaccine was working, destroying the engineered plague without harming Lyrican's cellular structures. As the treatment was quickly synthesized and distributed to the rest of the colony, Zara and David found a moment alone amidst the celebrations. "You did it," Zara said softly, her antennae gently caressing David's cheek. "You saved my people." David shook his head, pulling her close. "We did it. Together." As they shared another kiss, neither of them noticed Captain Rodriguez watching from the doorway, a mixture of exasperation and amusement on her face. "Interspecies incident, my ass," she muttered. "Turn your way to give them privacy. Looks like love really is universal." With the immediate crisis averted, questions remained about the origin of the engineered virus. But for Zara and David, a new chapter was just beginning. One that would challenge both their worlds' assumptions about the nature of life, love, and the connections that bind us all. Biological barriers and scientific breakthrough. As the dust settled on Novus Prime and the Lyrican population began to recover, Zara and David found themselves at the center of a galactic media storm. Their unprecedented romance had captured the imagination of both species, sparking intense debate about the nature of love and the potential for interspecies relationships. Alien Ambassador and Human Scientist, a love story for the ages, blared the headlines on Earth's global news networks. Lyrican purity threatened by human contamination countered the more conservative Lyrican outlets. Amid the furor, the unlikely couple retreated to a cutting-edge research facility on Earth's moon. Here, away from prying eyes, they could continue their groundbreaking work while exploring the depths of their feelings for each other. Dr. Elara Voss, Earth's preeminent xenobiologist, greeted them as they stepped off the shuttle. Her cybernetic eyes whirred softly as she scanned their vitals. "Welcome to Lunaris Base," she said, her voice tinged with barely contained excitement. "I must say, your case is absolutely fascinating from a scientific perspective." David chuckled nervously. "Glad we could provide such an interesting research opportunity, Dr. Voss." As they settled into their new life on the moon, Zara and David threw themselves into their work. They were determined to unlock the secrets of their unique biology, hoping to pave the way for other human Lyrican couples. One evening, as they relaxed in the facility's biodome, gazing up at the Earth hanging like a blue jewel in the starry sky, Zara broached a subject that had been weighing on her mind. "David," she began hesitantly, her antennae twitching with nervous energy. "Have you ever thought about children?" David's eyes widened. Wow. I mean, yes, I've thought about it, but I always assumed it would be impossible for us." Zara nodded, her violet eyes shimmering with a mix of hope and uncertainty. "It should be. Our genetic structures are so different, and yet," she took his hand, placing it gently on her abdomen, "I've been feeling changes." David's scientific mind raced with possibilities. But how? The cellular division process for Lyrican reproduction is nothing like human fertilization. "I don't know," Zara admitted, But I think the nanobots we used to cure the plague might have had unintended consequences. They immediately reached out to Dr. Voss, who subjected Zara to a battery of tests. The results left the entire scientific team stunned. It's unprecedented, Dr. Voss declared, her cybernetic eyes rapidly processing data. The nanobots seem to have created a sort of biological bridge between your two species. They've rewritten portions of Zara's genetic code, allowing for a hybrid embryo to form. The news spread like wildfire, igniting a firestorm of controversy. Religious leaders on both worlds decried the pregnancy as unnatural. Ethical debates raged in scientific circles, and in the darkest corners of both societies, extremist groups began to form, seeing the hybrid child as a threat to the purity of their species. Amid the chaos, Zara and David clung to each other, determined to see their miraculous pregnancy through. They spent long hours in the lab, working with Dr. Voss to ensure the health of their unborn child. As Zara's pregnancy progressed, they made an astonishing discovery. The fetus was developing characteristics of both species, iridescent skin like a lyrican, but with a human-like nervous system. Most surprisingly, it showed signs of both lyrican cellular division and human sexual reproduction capabilities. It's like the child is a living bridge between our species, David marveled, staring at the holographic scans. Zara's antennae quivered with emotion, a new form of life born from love. But their joy was tempered by growing threats. Both the Lyrican High Council and certain factions within Earth's government were pressuring them to terminate the pregnancy, fearing the unknown consequences of such a hybrid. Late one night, as they lay together in their quarters, a desperate plan began to form. "We can't stay here," David said softly, his hand resting protectively on Zara's swollen belly. "It's not safe for you or the baby." Zara nodded, her violet eyes filled with determination. "But where can we go? Both our worlds are turning against us." A sleek grin spread across David's face. "Who says we have to stay in this star system? Humanity has been itching to test our new experimental faster-than-light drive. What if we volunteered for a long-term deep space mission?" Zara's antennae perked up with excitement. A journey to the unknown, just the three of us. They brought their proposal to Captain Rodriguez, who had become one of their staunchest allies. She listened with growing enthusiasm. A scientific expedition to explore uncharted regions of space, with the first human Lyrican hybrid on board. Rodriguez grinned. "Oh, the brass will eat that up. We can spin it as a grand gesture of interspecies cooperation." And so, under the guise of a diplomatic mission, plans were set in motion. A sleek new ship, the Nebula Seeker, was quickly outfitted for long-term space travel. Dr. Voss insisted on joining the crew, unable to resist the opportunity to study the hybrid child's development. As the day of launch approached, tensions on both Earth and Lyra reached a boiling point. Protesters surrounded the launch site, some supporting the mission, others decrying it as an abomination. Zara and David stood on the bridge of the Nebula Seeker, watching the final preparations through the viewscreen. Captain Rodriguez entered, her face grim. "We've got a problem," she announced. "Just intercepted some chatter. Seems like a group of extremists is planning to sabotage the launch. We need to go now." David's jaw clenched. "But we're not fully supplied yet. The life support systems haven't been fully tested for long-term use." Zara placed a reassuring hand on his arm. "We'll find a way, my love. We always do." With alarms blaring, the Nebula Seeker blasted off ahead of schedule, streaking into the night sky as explosions rocked the launch pad behind them. As Earth receded into the distance, Zara and David held each other close, their unborn child nestled safely between them. "Where to, lovebirds?" Captain Rodriguez called from the helm, a glint of adventure in her eyes. David and Zara shared a look of excitement and trepidation. "Set a course for the galactic rim," David said. "Let's see what's out there." As the Nebula Seeker engaged its experimental FTL drive, the stars blurred into streaks of light. Zara felt a flutter in her abdomen, their child, sensing the beginning of a grand adventure. Whatever challenges lay ahead in the vast unknown of space, they would face them together, a family forged in the fires of adversity, bound by a love that transcended the very stars themselves. The nebula seeker vanished into the cosmic night, carrying with it the hopes and dreams of two species, and the promise of a future where the boundaries between worlds could be bridged by understanding, science, and love. Cosmic Odyssey and Evolutionary Leaps. The nebula seeker hurtled through the cosmos, its experimental FTL drive pushing the boundaries of known physics. Inside, Zara and David's lives had become a delicate balance of groundbreaking scientific research and preparing for the birth of their unprecedented child. As they approached the 6-month mark of their journey, the ship's sensors detected an anomaly, a massive structure floating in the void between stars. "It's artificial," Captain Rodriguez announced, her voice filled with awe. "And ancient. The energy readings are off the charts." As they drew closer, holographic displays flickered to life throughout the ship, showing impossible geometries and swirling, alien script. Dr. Voss's cybernetic eyes whirred frantically. It's communicating with us, or trying to. The language is like nothing we've ever encountered." Suddenly, Zara doubled over, gasping. David rushed to her side. "What's wrong? Is it the baby?" Zara's violet eyes were wide with wonder. "No, I can understand it. The structure, it's speaking to me." Before anyone could react, a beam of scintillating energy engulfed the nebula seeker, pulling it inexorably towards the alien megastructure. As they passed through its shimmering surface, reality itself seemed to warp and twist. When the disorientation passed, they found themselves in a vast chamber that defied the laws of physics. Fragments of countless worlds floated in a swirling nebula of possibility. A voice echoed in their minds, ancient and multifaceted. "Welcome, children of distant stars. We are the architects, shapers of life and guardians of evolution." Holographic figures materialized before them, beings of pure energy, their forms constantly shifting between different species. "Your union," the architects continued, focusing on Zara and David, "and the child you carry, represent a cosmic convergence we have long awaited. You stand at the threshold of a great leap forward in galactic evolution." Dr. Voss stepped forward, her scientific curiosity overriding her fear. "You've been guiding our species. To what end?" The architect's forms shimmered. "All life in this galaxy shares a common origin, seeded by us eons ago. But only through the voluntary union of diverse species can true cosmic harmony be achieved. Your child is the first step towards a new hybrid species that will bridge the gaps between all sentient life." Zara placed a protective hand on her swollen belly. "Our child, would it be safe, normal?" "Normal is relative," the architects replied. "Your offspring will possess gifts beyond your imagination, but the path will not be easy. There are those who fear change, who would destroy this new life to maintain the old order." Captain Rodriguez's eyes narrowed. "The extremists back home, they'll never stop hunting us." The architect's energy pulsed. "We offer you a choice. Remain here, under our protection, while your child grows and learns to harness its true potential, or return to your own worlds, facing the challenges that await, but with the power to spark a galactic revolution." David and Zara shared a long look, volumes passing between them without words. Finally, David turned to the architects. "We didn't come all this way to hide. Whatever happens, we face it together." The chamber filled with a warm, approving light. "So be it. We will bestow upon your child the accumulated knowledge of 1 billion civilizations. Use it wisely." Energy swirled around Zara, suffusing her body with cosmic power. She gasped as new understanding flooded her mind. Suddenly, alarms blared throughout the nebula seeker. Captain Rodriguez's voice was tight with concern. "Hate to break up the party, but we've got company. A fleet of ships just dropped out of FTL. Signatures match both Earth and Lyrican military vessels." The architect's forms began to fade. The choice is made. Go now, bearers of new life. The fate of the galaxy rests in your hands. With a dizzying lurch, the Nebula Seeker was ejected from the megastructure, which vanished as if it had never existed. They found themselves facing an armada of warships from both their homeworlds. "This is Admiral Cora of the Lyrican Fleet," a stern voice crackled over the comms. "Power down your vessels and prepare to be boarded. The abomination must not be allowed to live." David's jaw clenched as he looked at the overwhelming forces arrayed against them. "Any bright ideas, Captain?" Rodriguez managed a grim smile. "Just one. It's crazy, probably suicidal, and might tear the ship apart." "You in?" Zora's antennae quivered with determination. "Do it." Rodriguez nodded, her fingers flying over the controls. "All right, hang on to something. We're about to make the laws of physics cry." The Nebula Seeker's experimental drive hummed to life, but instead of shooting them across space, it created a localized field of warped spacetime around the ship. "Fire at will," Admiral Cora's voice commanded. A barrage of energy weapons and missiles streaked towards the Nebula Seeker. But as they entered the distorted field surrounding the ship, they twisted in impossible ways, looping back on their origins. Chaos erupted among the fleet as their own weapons turned against them. Taking advantage of the confusion, Rodriguez punched the main drive, sending them hurtling into the unknown depths of space. As the adrenaline of their narrow escape faded, Zara suddenly clutched her stomach, her face contorted in pain. "David," she gasped. "It's time." The next few hours were a blur of activity as Dr. Voss worked frantically to manage the unprecedented birth. The ship shuddered and groaned, the strain of their escape taking its toll on the systems. Finally, a new sound filled the air, the cry of a child unlike any the universe had ever seen. David cradled the infant gently, marveling at its iridescent skin and eyes that seemed to hold the depths of space itself. "Hello, little one," he whispered. "Welcome to a whole new galaxy." Zara reached out weakly, her antenna brushing the child's cheek. In that touch, a spark of cosmic energy passed between them, and the baby's eyes glowed with ancient knowledge. Captain Rodriguez's voice came over the intercom, thick with emotion. "I hate to interrupt, but you might want to see this." They made their way to the bridge, where a breathtaking sight greeted them. The distortions from their desperate escape had torn a hole in the fabric of space itself, revealing a swirling portal of unimaginable possibilities. "Where does it lead?" David asked, awestruck. Zora's eyes glowed with the same eldritch light as their child's. "Everywhere," she said softly, "and everywhen. The architect's gift, it's not just knowledge, it's the key to the entire multiverse." As alarms blared warning of the ship's imminent structural failure, they faced a momentous choice: risk the unknown of the portal, or stay and face the combined might of two worlds bent on their destruction. David looked down at their newborn child, then met Zora's gaze. No words were needed. With a shared nod of determination, Captain Rodriguez engaged the engines. The Nebula Seeker plunged into the swirling vortex, carrying with it the hopes and fears of two species, the legacy of the ancient architects, and the first ember of a cosmic revolution that would reshape the very foundations of reality itself. As they vanished into the unknown, the stars themselves seemed to hold their breath, waiting to see what new universe would be born from this impossible union of worlds. Multiversal pioneers and the nexus of realities. The Nebula Seeker erupted from the swirling vortex into a realm beyond imagination. Fractals of reality spiraled in every direction, each one a window into a different universe. The ship's sensors overloaded, unable to process the torrent of information flooding in from countless dimensions. "By all the stars," Captain Rodriguez whispered, her eyes wide with wonder. "Where are we?" Dr. Voss's cybernetic implants sparked and sizzled as they struggled to interpret the impossible data. "It appears to be some sort of nexus point, a crossroads between realities." Zara cradled their newborn child, who gurgled happily, seemingly unfazed by the mind-bending vista before them. The infant's eyes swirled with cosmic energy, reflecting the multiversal tapestry surrounding them. "I can feel it," Zara said softly, her antennae quivering. "Through our child. The knowledge of the architects, it's like a map. Each of these gateways leads to a different version of our universe." David's scientific mind raced with the implications. Parallel worlds where history took a different course. Realities with different laws of physics. "All that and more," Zara confirmed. "But we're not alone here." As if summoned by her words, other vessels began to materialize around them. Ships of impossible configurations, built by species beyond imagination. A symphony of communication signals flooded the Nebula Seeker's receivers, each one in a different language, yet somehow all perfectly understandable. "Greetings, newcomers," the message rang out in their minds. "Welcome to the Multiversal Accord." A shimmering portal opened before them, revealing a vast space station that seemed to exist in multiple dimensions simultaneously. The Nebula Seeker was gently drawn inside, coming to rest in a docking bay alongside craft that defied description. As they disembarked, they were greeted by a delegation of beings from across the multiverse. Some were vaguely humanoid, others completely alien, and a few seemed to be composed of pure energy or abstract concepts given form. A figure stepped forward, a being of swirling stardust and pulsing light. "I am Xerxes, speaker for the Accord. We've been expecting you." Captain Rodriguez raised an eyebrow. "You have?" Xerxes' form rippled with amusement. The birth of a truly multiversal being is a rare and momentous occasion. Your child represents a unique convergence of realities, a living key to the cosmos itself. Dr. Voss couldn't contain her scientific curiosity. "Fascinating. Are you saying there are others like our child?" "Similar, but not identical," Xerxes explained. "Each universe occasionally produces beings of great cosmic significance. Your little one is special, a bridge not just between species, but between entire realities." David protectively wrapped an arm around Zara and their child. "What does that mean for us, for our baby?" Xerxes' starry form pulsed reassuringly. "It means you have a choice. You can return to your home reality, armed with the knowledge and technology to unite your peoples and usher in a new age of multiversal exploration. Or, Zara prompted, her antenna twitching with anticipation. "Or you can join us," Xerxes continued. "Become part of the Multiversal Accord. Use your unique perspective and your child's abilities to help maintain the delicate balance between realities." Before they could respond, alarms blared throughout the station. A swirling vortex of dark energy materialized in the center of the docking bay. From it emerged a nightmarish figure, a writhing mass of tentacles and void black flesh. "Niblorix the World Ender," Xerxes said grimly. "A multiversal parasite that consumes entire realities." The eldritch horror's baleful gaze fixed upon Zara and David's child. A voice like the death of stars echoed in their minds. "The key awakens. All shall be unmade and remade in my image." Tendrils of entropic energy lashed out, only to be deflected by a shimmering barrier. The assembled members of the Multiversal Accord rallied, powers beyond mortal comprehension clashing against Niblorix's onslaught. In the chaos, David turned to Zara, his eyes filled with a mixture of fear and determination. "I don't fully understand what's happening, but I know our child is the key to stopping this." Zara nodded, her antennae quivering with resolve. "The architect's gift. I think I know how to use it." She held their baby aloft, and the infant's eyes blazed with cosmic fire. Reality itself seemed to bend around them as the child tapped into the fundamental forces of the multiverse. Captain Rodriguez and Dr. Voss stood back to back, improvised weapons in hand. "Whatever you're going to do," Rodriguez shouted over the din of battle, "do it fast." Zara began to chant in a language older than time itself, each syllable resonating with the very fabric of creation. David placed his hand on her shoulder, lending his strength and love to the ritual. A beam of pure possibility erupted from their child, engulfing Neblorix. The world ender writhed in agony as it was unmade and remade 1,000 times a second, experiencing every potential version of itself across the multiverse. With a reality-shaking shriek, Neblorix imploded, collapsing into a singularity of infinite density before vanishing from existence entirely. As the dust settled, the members of the multiversal accord stared in awe at the young family. Zurixes floated forward, their starry form flickering with emotion. In all my eons, I've never, the cosmic being paused, composing itself. You've done the impossible. Neblorix was thought to be unkillable, a cosmic constant of destruction. But you didn't just destroy it, you rewrote its very nature. David cradled their now sleeping child, looking to Zara with a mixture of pride and trepidation. So what happens now? Zorix's form expanded, encompassing them in a warm glow. Now, young pioneers, the real journey begins. The multiverse is vast and full of wonders and horrors. We need beings like you, bridges between worlds, with the power to reshape reality itself. Zara's antennae twitched thoughtfully. But what about our home? The conflict we left behind? A shimmer in the air beside them coalesced into the familiar forms of the architects. Time flows differently here, children. In the moments you've been gone, centuries have passed in your reality. The crisis has been averted, but new challenges always arise. Captain Rodriguez stepped forward, her eyes gleaming with the prospect of adventure. I don't know about the rest of you, but I didn't sign up for this mission to play it safe. I say we take the plunge. Dr. Voss nodded enthusiastically, her cybernetic implants already adapting to process multiversal data. The scientific possibilities alone are staggering. We'd be fools to turn back now. David and Zara shared a long look, volumes passing between them without words. Finally, they turned to face the assembled cosmic beings, their child nestled safely between them. We accept, David said firmly. Zara's antennae quivered with excitement. Our journey began as a simple diplomatic mission between two worlds. Now it seems we have the entire multiverse to explore and protect. Zorix's form pulsed with approval. Then let the next phase of your cosmic odyssey begin. There are universes to save, realities to mend, and wonders beyond imagining waiting to be discovered. As the multiversal accord prepared to welcome its newest members, David and Zara stood at the threshold of infinite possibilities. Their love had already bridged the gap between two species. Now, with their miraculous child and loyal crew at their side, they would become the guardians of reality itself. The Nebula Seeker, reforged with technology beyond mortal comprehension, stood ready to embark on a journey without end. As they prepared to depart, David turned to Zara, a wry smile on his face. You know, when I asked you out for coffee that first time, I didn't expect it to lead to all this. Zara's laughter, filled with the music of 1,000 stars, echoed through the multiversal nexus. As a family forged in the fires of cosmic destiny, they set forth into the infinite expanse of creation, ready to write the next chapter in the grand story of existence itself.